Go. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app. Use that code BUFFS, B-U-F-F-S, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Also, shout out to Red Hawk Roofing. Hail season is here, so don't wait to take care of any issues before big storms hit. You can't always see how bad the damage to your roof is from the ground, so make sure you hit up our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing, and they're awesome. They're big DNVR fans, huge Buffs fans, Denver sports fans, all of it. So we love them over there. And if you're looking for a roof, hit up our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing by going to redhawkroofing.com or call 720-771-8921 and tell them DNVR sent you.
Yes, sir. And before we kick it off, over with Coach Michael Pollock, got Lone Wolf, who dropped $4.99. Speaking of, on the pregame show page, over 1,000 people watching live right now.
Let's go.
Put that together with DNVR page. Hey, we're in the thousands. So look here, Lone Wolf says, outside looking in, I see this year's CU Buffs being how Jackson State was there in the second year. So far, so good. It was undefeated in conference. Yes, sir. Well, Coach Michael Pollock, you were there at Jack State. Now you're second year at CU.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk offense, man. How did the offense look preparation-wise this week?
Man, I think we had a great week of preparation. I think we're, super confident coming in. They always talk about your most improvements when your first and second game. And we felt like, the first game we accomplished a lot of things we wanted to accomplish. We left a little money out there on the field, but, I think we worked to clean up some mistakes and try to do what we need to do this week. Listen, they've got a great defense that we got to go against this week in Nebraska. But last year we scored the second most points against them of anybody. Michigan scored the most, and they're the national champions. So we feel really good about our scheme, feel really good about our players and our matchups, and we're going to see what happens.
Love it, Coach. Last week when we talked to you, you said you helped try and coach a lot of the players through situational football. There were some instances in the game last week. So just what was the kind of reaction to what you presented to them this week? I'm sure just having to do with those situations.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that when you're able to use other games that were played last weekend, we used 3 clips this week from the LSU-USC game showing some things that happened. We use some other clips from just recent events of just this is what happened to these teams. This is the situation. Let's try to prevent this from happening. There's some things that the referees are taking a little bit more into consideration this year. Like, for example, the defensive lines that like to move and shift and everything. They're being real picky this year about any kind of movement that's going to cause the offensive line to jump off sides, and they're going to call it on the defense. That happened at LSU against USC. And then later in the game, LSU did it again, and USC jumped. They caught it on the offense. So, it's just it's a very fine line that you got to walk when you do that. And it was very good for our kids to see that. And, of course, then, the new technology, using the tablets and using the headset in the helmet communication, the rules that go into there. We talked today about how during the timeout, as long as you're between the numbers and the sideline, you can have the tablet in the huddle and show your players what's going on. I mean, what an advantage when you got Shedeur Sanders sitting there basically just watching the last 2 or 3 plays that I mean that's almost like the cheat code in a video game, And so we just want to make sure that our kids are aware of the rules, and we don't get, because like in that situation, if you go out past the numbers, it's a penalty. It's an issue. So we just want to make sure that our kids know the rules. We don't do something silly that costs us a game. I mean, like the other night, we're 3 plays away from blowing them guys out. And they're a good football team. Let's take nothing away. We made those mistakes. That was on us, and we paid the price for it. But, in big-time college football games, when you're playing good competition, it's going to come down to 1, 2, or 3 plays. And who makes the play is going to be successful, and who doesn't, it's not going to be successful.
So, if I can guess, the fluky interception, is that one of the 3 plays you're talking about in the end zone? Yeah, that was one. Yep. 4th and 1?
4th down,
Well,
or 4th and inches?
I thought that actually it's the 2 penalties on defense that extended drives for them, and then the fluky interception. I mean, that's 21 points right there. You know what I'm saying? That's a 21-point swing, and then the situation with the the big play they had on the first down. We just misplayed that just a little bit. You know, it was just but you take that play away. I know you can't take it away, but if you take that away, you stop them there. We get the ball, we score. Maybe their mentality's a little different. Momentum's a big thing, and it's going to be a big thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
You go all off season, and everyone puts all this work into building this offense, and you look out there and you've got 4 wide with Will Shepard, Jimmy Horn, LaJohntay Wester, and Travis Hunter. And as you're getting ready for the season, you're just like imagining like what this could be.
Right.
So how exciting was it to see them go out there and kind of show how explosive they could be? Shador go for 445, and like you mentioned, maybe even a couple plays from really, really blowing it open. Well,
listen, you're gonna allow me to segue into a little self promotion here from me and my man Neely and Coach Hart. We had an episode of The Whistle last week that we talked about some things, and there was a comment in there that I read I thought was kind of funny. That somebody said Shador needs to throw it to somebody besides Travis. Well, Shador threw for over 400 something yards, and Travis didn't have 132. So there's 300 yards out there somewhere that somebody else caught.
Michael Pollock. What are we talking about here?
What are we talking about here? I mean, Jimmy Horn had 190. So. I'm okay.
Should have been like 260.
Exactly. And then you got JoHntay and Will, who Will Shepard's I'm gonna tell you right now, that kid can play. Yeah. And he didn't really have a the kind of game that he probably wanted for himself last week, but it was an efficient game. Yeah. He just didn't have the big plays, and we didn't get him in those situations. It just didn't work out that way. But that's receiver play for you. It's not going to always work out that way. But I'm telling you right now, he is a big-time player. He's got a lot of snaps under his belt in a very tough conference. I don't care. I know Vanderbilt's probably not the cream of the crop in the SEC, but Georgia had a kid that they got from Vanderbilt that played pretty good last week against Clemson, and we got a kid from Vanderbilt, Will Shepard, who had over 20 touchdowns in the SEC. And I don't care. Hey, it's hard to score 20 touchdowns on air in the SEC. So, so this kid can play, and of course, LaJohntay Wester. I mean, he had some key catches for us the other day. Listen, it's going to be one of them years where it's that you take away Travis and Jimmy, you still got LaJohntay and Will to take it. If you take away Will and Jimmy, you got LaJohntay and Travis. Yep. So you still got guys that you can't take them all away.
No, absolutely not, Coach.
So that's good for us.
And I thought Timmons had a good week of practice.
Absolutely, Timmons has had a great camp. I mean, that's another one. To transfer from NC State. He's had a great camp. He's had a great week of practice. He works hard. We still got Amarian Miller who had a little coming out party last year against USC. He's still a young pup, but he's got a lot of talent. I mean, and then there's Draylon Miller, the freshman, had a great game the other night. I mean, heck, how many times can you say you opened up a season and threw a bubble screen to a freshman?
Right. And when you look at Marion, I got a couple questions for you after this. 2 crucial blocks he had. Like he played more than receiver last week. A lot of people look for stats, look for yardage, look for catches, but his job away from the ball, showed his growth and maturity last week. Coach, when you talked about, what you get up in front of the team and do your lessons about things to be aware of, it's not just for the players. One of the things I loved when you talked about the pads and telling you were coaching the coaches like, hey, I don't care what happens out there.
Right.
You can't take that pad to an official and show them what they missed. That's a 15-yard penalty.
That's exactly right. And that, that is something that, you have to I've seen it happen. At the high school level, they've had iPads on the sideline for over a decade now. And you've seen coaches get a little bit perturbed about a call, and they want to go show it. And, you can't do that kind of stuff. And absolutely, the NCAA has a rule. It's an unsportsmanlike conduct against your sideline.
Go ahead.
Just looking at Nebraska defensively, what stands out to you on tape, and I guess differences between last year and this year, because they are bringing a lot of the key pieces back from last year and this year.
I think they got 8 starters back on defense. So I mean, it's good to be able to see the same kids. We actually saw them on live and in color last year, and we saw them on film, how they matched up with us last year, and we got our new pieces here, and they got a couple new pieces as well. And I tell you what, their defensive coordinator, he does a great job. He keeps it mixed up. He keeps the quarterback guessing, and they show a multitude of looks, and it makes it very difficult for a quarterback to operate. and your offensive line, in the run game, identifying who the point is on inside and outside zone and where we're going to work to and things like that. So, yeah, he does a great job. He's got a great reputation, and he's going to be a head coach one day and be very successful because he's really got those guys playing hard. You can tell that they bought into what he's doing, and they enjoy playing for him.
Outstanding. That's Coach Michael Pollock, man. I love him.
I thought you had more questions.
I always have more questions for Coach Pollock. Coach, talk to you about getting the ball around, and you brought it up. You framed it perfectly. People saying you got to throw more than Travis Hunter, and the stats bear out that more people were thrown to than Travis Hunter.
Exactly.
The other thing people are criticizing or being overcritical of is the lack of run opportunities.
Right.
And what I say to them is that when you have a Shedeur Sanders, a Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn Jr. out there, throw the book away on this pass run percentage.
Right.
Do what's working.
Listen, Coach Brett Bartolone said it best this week when he and I were riding home together. He said, "Listen, man, we had over 500 yards of offense. And I don't care how you got it running, passing, or whatever. 500 yards of offense is 500 yards of offense.
Yep.
So it doesn't. I think a lot of people get caught up into that kind of stuff and things. The thing that you got to do is when you're a play caller, you got to think players, not plays. And a lot of times when you got critical situations, you got the best quarterback in the country. You don't want to take it out of his hands. You want him to have that opportunity to win it for you and to do the things he needs to do.
Absolutely.
But something his maturity through 4 years of being able to not only just check to the pass but get us in the right run play for us is tremendous. And we do want to run the ball better, but at the same time, we're going to do whatever it takes to win the football game.
And to the fans out there, I think it's important to note that, RK, you're sitting next to, and Jake, you're sitting across from Shedeur Sanders, first offensive collegiate coordinator and quarterback coach. So I think he knows the guy.
Absolutely.
He and I go way back. I actually met Shedeur when he was in the 8th grade down at the Under Armour All-American game. So, I've known him for a while. And like I say, he's just – I've never gone into a game without being super confident that we were going to win the football game with, as long as he was taking snaps. That's just the way it is. And that's what you want out of your trigger man. That he does a great job. He's matured through his 4 years of college.
Absolutely.
And I think he's just going to. I think he's going to have a great game tomorrow. I really do.
I'll say this to you, Coach, that for running game wise, what I've seen all camp long, practice this week, looking at Nebraska's defense. What a Dallin Hayden brings to the table and a Micah brings to the table, I think matches up well with that.
Yes.
You got some guys that want to take it to their linebackers.
Right.
These ain't run out of bound guys. These are drop the shoulder
right.
and hit you guys. So
that's right.
I think when there's opportunities there, we are going to run. But like you said, it's about players, not plays.
Well, we've got a lot of people have made a big factor this year out of playing in front of a big crowd. And Nebraska's tradition. Well, listen here. Tradition lasts about as long as kickoff. I mean, listen, as soon as kickoff's over.
Get that on the shirt.
Listen, last time I checked, there ain't nobody from the 80s. Tommy Frazier's not going to come back out on the field and start running the option to Mike Rose. None of them guys are going to play. So it's going when it kicks off, it's going to be Nebraska and it's going to be Colorado. And our job is to go out there and execute. And they got the home field advantage, but this is college football. And in college football, you got to go on the road and play in front of big crowds and win. So, I couldn't think of anybody better to go with than Shedeur Sanders. I mean, that crowd's not going to rattle him. It's not going to have any effect on him. He's played big games on the road before, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it. Tommy Frazier ain't walking through that door.
No.
Yep. That's right.
At all.
All right, Coach.
Well, listen, man. I'm just gonna tell. Since we got over 1,000 people listening, I got to put a plug in. I got to cook, baby.
Man.
Hey, listen. We had guys. I'm gonna tell you right now. Me and Coach Hart and Coach Neely, had a great episode of The Whistle that popped out Thursday.
Absolutely.
The first part of it popped Thursday. Y'all got to tune in tomorrow because the last part, I'm going to tell you what, last part 2 is tomorrow. And listen, trust me, you're going to want to listen.
Yeah, I agree with Coach. When we got done and went our separate ways, and I got to doing the minimal editing that it needs working with these two guys. I text both of them. I said, I think it's the best episode ever.
Let's go.
Like, I think this
We're
is the best
excited
because it was entertainment and football, man.
That's right.
Because, I mean, they cut up now.
Oh, yeah.
You get them together, they double cut up.
Yeah.
You know, when it got into ball talk, I was sitting there like, damn.
Yeah.
These fuckers know football,
Yes,
man.
they do.
Well, let me tell you something. I think somebody was listening because Coach Prime got the 5 heartbeats video sent to him.
Yeah,
So I think somebody heard us talk
that's where
about
it came from.
it off
That's
the
where it
whistle.
originated.
There's no doubt.
Yes, sir.
You know, hey, we're trendsetters. That's what we do, man.
sir.
We're trendsetters. You know,
doubt.
I tell you what. Next week, I know this. I'm coming with my blenders.
Let's
I
go.
feel
Let's
like
go.
I'm showing up here. I'm the only one that don't have blenders on, have my sunglasses on. So that will not happen again. I promise you.
Absolutely.
I love it. Before we
Absolutely.
let you go, I just want to hear the way that you say the name of this beer.
Water.
It's going down like water. It's going down like water.
Michael Pollock,
that-
Georgia's finest, baby.
That's Coors Light.
All right.
Yeah, Coors.
Coors Light.
Now, when you want to drink a real beer, you get some Coors Banquet. You get some Banquet now.
As
Come
long
on
as
now.
you stay Coors, I'll allow it. I'll
Shout
allow
out
it.
to Coors Banquet. Shout out to Coach Michael Pollock, Georgia's finest, and indisputably the best head of hair in the Big 12.
Hey, there's no doubt. Mike Gundy, listen, I ain't forgot about you. We got a date with Destiny at the last game of the year.
Yes, sir.
Me and Mike Gundy. Hey, he's got a little perm in his now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm
Little
going to go
bit.
that far now. He done got a little curl in it. My boy's stepping out.
Coach Pre, we appreciate you stopping
Appreciate
by,
you guys.
man. We love
Appreciate
it.
you,
We love
Coach.
it.
Thank y'all.
Good luck tomorrow, man.
All right.
Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.
That was Coach Michael Pollock, offensive analyst. Been with Coach Prime even before Jackson State and Under Armour days, but OC and quarterbacks coach, receivers, tight end coach at Jackson State, came out to Colorado, been here now, working with tight end, special teams, just all the offense. We're out there with Coach Pat Shermer, particularly Coach Brett Bartolone as well. Shout out to Mike P and Coach Hart, man.
Those guys are awesome.
They are awesome.
This coaching staff's awesome.
It really is.
They're-
It is like a staff of head coaches.
It's just great,
Yep.
you know, football knowledge, great people, just awesome to talk to every time.
Even the guys who haven't been head coaches have been coordinators. I mean, it's,
Yep.
you know. and
He's an offensive analyst, and he was an offensive
that's what I
coordinator.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High school head coach,